Hey, it's the Narrative Nerd here, and welcome back for the fifth installment, I think it's the fifth, of Rigor Mortis. When we last left our heroes, let me try and enunciate. Kaito had been taken home by Hayden. Hayden had shown Kaito the beginnings of a normal life, and Hayden had seen Kaito get into the car with parents that didn't seem to give a crap about him. Hayden had decided that his new pet project was basically saving Kaito. And this is where we pick up the story. So, life progresses for Kaito. Over the next few weeks, he settles into school life. He does have a couple of incidences, like the one that he had and in the cafeteria on the first day, where he accidentally manages to brush against somebody. He does see how a few other students are going to die, but gradually he starts to get the hang of how to mask his reactions to it. No one is as near death as Hayden is, so Kaito does not have quite as an extreme reaction. In other news though, being at school and trying to navigate his way now through a social situation that he has not had to do before is taking its toll. Kaito is not processing souls as quickly during the day, whilst he is trying to gauge school life. So he is having to do a lot more work at night and is getting, therefore, a lot less sleep. While he is getting less sleep, he is starting to look haggard at school, and Hayden notices. He doesn't understand why this is happening, but he knows it's not right. Of course, Hayden being Hayden, and he's got his pet project, he is more interested in Kaito and Kaito's mental state than he is anything else. And this does not go unnoticed by our resident antagonist, Sir Caleb. The more time that Hayden spends obsessing over Kaito's well-being, the more annoyed Caleb gets. Hayden starts missing band practices, not that many, but he does, to hang out with Kaito instead, rescuing Kaito from his family, or so he thinks. And so it goes on until one day, the class that they share together, their home group, is invited to a party. Kaito, of course, is immediately going to decline that offer. He does not want to go. But Hayden, being Hayden, says, "Come with me, come on. You have to experience at least one party," because he knows by now that Kaito has not seen anything of a normal life. Kaito really doesn't want to go. He's got a lot of work on. He's tired. He is going to be easily overloaded, and he knows it. But Hayden's persistence is a real and tangible thing. So, against his better judgment, he ends up going to this party. Yeah. Drunken teenagers. It is something that Kaito has been aware of, but has not seen firsthand. He is absolutely horrified of how people are acting, their inhibitions gone. Hayden gets himself pleasantly drunk. Kaito doesn't want to touch any alcohol. Caleb is there as well, and Caleb gets himself pretty drunk as well. And as the night progresses on, it becomes increasingly clear to Caleb that Hayden only has eyes for Kaito. By this time, their relationship has become somewhat ambiguous, Kaito and Hayden anyway. They seem to be best friends, maybe more. And Caleb is not ready to let Hayden go to some little upstart blonde punk. So, when Hayden runs off to talk to some other friends, leaving Kaito alone for just a moment, Caleb makes his move. This is where the two of them don't meet, really, because they've known each other before now in passing glares and threatening sort of looks, you know. But now Caleb has had enough. He wants his best friend back. He wants his reason for existing back. So he approaches Kaito and he says to him, "Back off. Fuck off." And Kaito was like, "I'm sorry, what? What are you talking about?" Knowing full well what he's talking about. And Caleb says that as well. He says, "You know what I'm talking about. You have to get away from Hayden is mine. Hayden is mine." And of course, Hayden picks that moment to come back. Hayden, who is this ball of sunshine and who loves everybody, is one of these people who is woefully oblivious when people direct affection at them. He didn't know that Caleb felt that way. He always thought that Caleb was his bro, and he says so. Caleb knows Hayden's preferences. Hayden is bi, and he always kind of hoped that he would be on Hayden's radar, being gay himself. But as he looks at his best friend, he knows the truth. Hayden doesn't see him that way. And it breaks him. It really does. Like, it's not that Hayden's friendship is not enough for him, but it is. And that comes out as rage, because that's all that Caleb can do. He's been past crying for years. He vows that he will take Kaito out one way or another, and then he leaves the party. Kaito is pretty shaken up by this turn of events. Kaito and Hayden leave the party together. Hayden is also pretty shaken up by this turn of events. And for once, on the way home, he's quiet. So, faced with a silent Hayden who is kind of devastated that his best friend is acting this way, Kaito decides to do something that he was never going to do. He's going to tell Hayden everything. Instead of taking or going the way back to Hayden's house, Kaito steers Hayden towards his own house. And there, Kaito introduces Hayden to his life and what he does. This is where I'd like to switch in the story to Hayden's point of view. Hayden is reeling from what Caleb has just revealed. He is reeling from the implications of Caleb leaving. He's unhappy with the conflict as a whole. So when Kaito offers to take him back to his place, he's like, "Yeah, sure, that's cool. Even though I don't really feel like hanging out at the moment." And Kaito says, just come. He goes back to Kaito's house and he notices that everything is clinical and precise. Everything has its place. It's like no one lives there. It's like a young professional's house, but, you know, a young professional that works all the time. Kaito leads Hayden up to his Spartan bedroom, and he sits down with Hayden on the floor. Then he says, "I'm going to share something with you, but you have to promise not to freak out." Now, at this point, Kaito, it's worth noting that Kaito has memories or access to certain memories of his predecessors, because the death god's cycle into mortality is one that, you know, he has a mortal life and then he's resurrected. That's just like how it works. One of Kaito's predecessors actually shared everything with a mortal friend before, and that friend rejected him, and that has put off all of Kaito's subsequent reincarnations from making friends again. Now faced with the same dilemma, Kaito is very aware that this could break their friendship, and Hayden is still the only one that brings him any kind of joy at this point. But he has to do it. He has to. I don't know, it just seems right for Kaito to share something about himself. The thing about himself, considering that he is the reason that Hayden and Caleb are having these problems. If he wasn't there... yeah. Anyway. So Kaito shows him the graveyard. He shows him the ob mill. The ob mill is so the graveyard actually looks like a graveyard, with lots and lots of graves around that have different colourful auras coming out of them, and like right in the centre is an enormous cathedral-esque church, and that is the ob mill. The ob mill is like a storage box for souls that have been recently deceased that Kaito hasn't yet processed. It's very, very big because when Kaito is an infant essentially in each life, then he can't process souls until he learns to do it. This does mean as well that he has a little bit of leeway if something does happen in his mortal life, you know, car crashes or whatever, you know, like stuff that he actually has to be present in reality for, not processing souls. But it's not really a good idea to use the ob mill that much, because the longer the souls hang around inside the limbo of the graveyard, the more twisted up and upset and bothered they get. So yeah, Kaito leads Hayden through a guided meditation into the realm of the dead. And yeah, it's swarming with phantoms bringing new souls in. They place them in the ob mill, and then Kaito gets to sort them he sits on like an enormous black desk that towers above. It's like, you know those judge desks in court. Thank you. My brain just stopped. Yeah, it's like those, and Hayden is absolutely gobsmacked. Whatever was making Kaito tired all that time, whatever was dredging into his life and turning him into this like meek, mild little thing, he never expected that it would be this. And then when Kaito explains what he is, that he is a god in a mortal frame, Hayden is absolutely just blown off his feet. No mortal boy could comprehend that kind of thing. And seeing that, Kaito mistakenly believes that he's being rejected all over again. So he takes Hayden... Well, it doesn't help that because Hayden is due to die so soon, he kind of has the attention of the phantoms. The phantoms that are there see him there, and then they start flocking. And the phantoms, when they flock, are terrifying. So Kaito, seeing them flocking, freaks out and takes Hayden back to the mortal realm. And then they confront each other over what has just happened, really. Hayden is terrified of those phantoms. He really is. But then he looks at Kaito and he sees that Kaito deals with them every day. And he sees what Kaito has to do every day. And Kaito is this tiny little guy that's no older than him. And Hayden just says, dude, that sucks. It sucks that you have to do that. And Kaito sees the pity and the empathetic misery that Hayden has for him, and it's like there's lifetimes worth of misery that just bubbles up inside him, and he cracks beneath the pressure. Hayden is there to comfort him. And it's the first time that death has been accepted by a mortal friend. Hayden leaves to go home. Kaito feels well, frankly, it's the beginning feelings of love. Kaito loves him now. He thinks he probably always did. And the fact that he now knows that he's in love with Hayden, as much as Caleb is, really, is terrifying. What does death do with the feelings of love? And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. If you like this content, please click the like and subscribe button. I will be putting up more videos as I go because I'm plowing through them. Yeah, thank you very much for your time and have a wonderful day.